Good morning, good morning, good morning. And we want to welcome everyone here to the Lioness Den. Surprise, you do not see Lydia this morning. I am Alonzo Chapman. If you have been following the Lioness Den, you have seen me before. And we are here to have a very, very important conversation this morning. We're going to be talking about the state of special education, working with autistic kids, what's happening in Washington, how is it affecting you on the ground, and what can you do to move forward? But before we get into all these detailed topics, we have so much that is going on here at the Lioness Den, and I'm going to remind you again at the end. But I just want you to be aware that the Life Happens conference is coming again this year in October. So make sure you are registering, make sure you get your tickets. We have new levels where you're able to participate. Virtual will still be available, and we are going to be opening up for teenagers this year. Please remember that every third Saturday, we are going to be here in the Lioness Den, bringing you the content that's going to benefit and advance your life. And let's not forget that we have our book on peace written by our owner and creator, Lydia Chapman. It is available on Amazon. If you have not gotten a chance to get a copy of this book, please go out and get your copy today. But with all that being said, we're going to jump right into it. We have a very dynamic mom who is here with us, and we're going to discuss this thing from the grassroots up. So we're going to run a little credit music and we're going to jump right into it. We'll be right back. All right, we are back. We are back. And wow, for the upgrade. That intro just keeps getting better and better. But we're gonna move forward. Before we go forward, please bear with me today. Me and the good folks at the battery company are gonna have a fight. I know you can hear my smoke detector. I do apologize for the distraction. But as we move forward, let me introduce our guest for today, Miss Kenya Sullivan. She's coming here. This is a mom who has been active and working in the community. She has an autistic daughter who is an absolute bundle of joy and life. She's a little light bulb when she hits the room. So, Kenya, please introduce yourself to the people. Let's go and get ready for our discussion today.
Okay, I had to unmute first, of course.
Okay, I thought I was like maybe I'm missing something.
No, it was me. It was me. Gotta be quiet. Um, I am Kenya Sullivan. I'm Keela's mom, as you can see underneath. I'm pretty known at her school as Keela's mom. That's how much I'm there. And I have a 15-year-old nonverbal child with autism, and she attends Baltimore City Public Schools, and that's about to transition. So,
Understood, understood.
yeah.
So before we get into it, how are you doing this weekend, Miss Kenya? We're in Resurrection Weekend. Good Friday just happened last night. Pretty dresses, Easter egg hunts. How is life coming Easter season in your neck of the woods?
Newness. We are enjoying newness from the inside. It might not look like it from the outside, but it's good when it's new on the inside. That inside will be here in December.
Okay.
We
Okay. Hey,
we just
I'm
have some
I'm
good deep stuff going on.
I'm having a little bit of fun myself. I
Amen.
got me a little suit. I think I might be wearing. Maybe I might be wearing a little salmon on Resurrection
Well,
Sunday.
all right.
We
Okay.
we gonna see if the
Okay.
Lord and the inches around my waist agree with them high waisted pants. We gonna see. but
See what they ain't gonna be.
but let's try and jump into our topic.
Yes.
There is a lot going on right now. It goes without saying that having a special needs child and advocacy for that child has always been a challenge, and we could put a hard period behind that. But in this current season, and many people, I'm not telling anyone who's viewing now or in the future anything they don't know. In our current season, we are experiencing a different atmosphere. We have a new administration, and that new administration has been creative with the appointees that they have put into office. And I think today the one that will stand out the most currently is the appointee that has been placed over the Department of Education. Which, awkwardly enough, I've always been a fan of this lady, just not for education. I grew up in the '90s. I watched her on
Mhm.
WWE Attitude. That's she was behind Stone Cold. But apparently now this lady is in charge of our education, and there have been several new changes that have been happening. So my question is, and I want to bring you in, Kenya, because oftentimes when you hear these discussions, you hear them from directors, you hear it from coordinators, you will hear these discussions from department leads, but you're a parent. You are on the ground every day. What does this new climate mean to you?
It means to fight more. It means to be more strategic, less emotional, and more strategic. Really, that's where we are. This is a head game in some ways, and it's a lot to take in. Minus the emotion. If you can just minus the emotions of frustration, um, the closed doors, the unanswered emails, all of the shutdowns that you get from people you reach out to, from the waiting lists. Every parent knows what the waiting lists are. Yet, with all this new stuff that's going on, especially with Social Security, they want you to physically be there now.
Hmm.
I was on hold just to get a copy of statement, benefit statement. That's what I was on hold for 2 hours. I
Hmm.
literally was on this cell phone right here for 2 hours just to get that taken care of. It's little things. It's little things like that that really frustrate any parent. But that frustration, that annoying, why aren't you talking to me? Why are these resources not available? Why are you telling me I have to put up with what you're giving me for my child? You have to get out of the emotional part of that and be strategic. Hold them accountable because they're going to hold us accountable. So what I've been doing is trying to be more strategic. Learn. It's like a whole FBI kind of investigation. That's what it feels like for me.
I really do like that you say be strategic because as a longtime educator, it is imperative that you understand that this stuff is federal law.
Yeah.
Um, so oftentimes when people are negligent in that case, it's up to you to be the person to blow that whistle
Yes.
because and I won't call out any specific organizations, but at times it is easier to ignore you
Hmm.
or to try and brush you off to the side than to actually confront what actually needs to be done or what the requirements are. Oftentimes I have seen uh because there will be organizations who necessarily want to get the federal funding from having your child on the roster, because let's not get that confused. There is a incentive to your child being there,
That's
but
what I'm experiencing right now.
they
Right
don't
now.
want to execute the necessities of your child being there.
Mhm.
I have been one who has been shunned at times because if we're not able to service the child, we can't. It doesn't matter how much additional funding we will bring in, we're not able to service the child. So I often tell parents that please, I know that it is long. It is long. Your IEP is long. It will be pages and pages. And at 15, I'm pretty sure you have a binder about this thick
Yes.
that
Yes.
is just IEP. But
Yes.
have it, read it,
Yes.
keep it, know it well. Because if you do not know what needs to be required, it will not be executed. It is similar to what I oftentimes when I speak with young black men or young black women about their engagement with the police or working towards their court case or their charges. You need to know, not think. Know what you are saying, know what is expected of you, know what the law says about it. And I do you one even better if, depending on the level that you're dealing, know the precedent that comes before.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because accountability is key. Like you must be strategic. And the other thing that you pointed out is to lose emotion. Um, when you are emotional in these meetings, it is very easy to be disregarded.
Yes.
Um, I have seen that it's easier for others to focus on your emotional reaction than on the content of your statement.
And write you right off.
And because you have an emotional reaction, now I no longer need to deal with anything else that came after I judged you to be emotional.
Nothing else matters.
Because now you're emotional and depending on who you're dealing with, and I personally consider it to be micro racism because now you are threatened at my emotion and you feel as though you are now in some sort of danger,
Yes.
and which is amazing to me because I've seen these same people be very aggressive in meetings and no one was in danger there, but when there's any raising a voice,
Ah,
now we are in danger and we need to call
security.
security and we need to have extra. So my question to you, because for it's one thing for me to say it. I am a teacher. I play on the other side of the ball. So for me to tell you about managing your emotions and the effectiveness of that, there is value in that. But for you, there's a resonance. So could you take me through the process? How do you prepare yourself? Because being a mom, it is a highly emotional, highly attached situation. You're literally going to war for the future of your child. So, how do you manage to m- deal with those emotions to wrangle that energy and be able to keep it in a place where you are able to be effective and judicious in your moves instead of giving them a little bit of I told y'all last time I was here because I that's in there and you feel it and it's valid, like it's very valid. That's where they're taking you to. But how do you manage that in a pop off?
I will say God is an awesome sustainer and regulator. I have totally surrendered that aspect of me to Him. Now, there are those times when I take it back and I feel like God does this with His folded arms go, now, you know. But that's here in my house. Publicly, when I have to go to headquarters for school or go to my daughter's school, it doesn't come out there. So it's in there, but they don't need to see that. My most important thing is that what I say is heard and respected, and even when it's not respected, a plan of action that I use is to give them back what they give me. The language. If I'm accountable, then let's all be accountable. What we do here is what's going to be done from this point on, and the moment you breach it, I'm on it. I have I take a lot of time to make sure that I'm checking me before. I mean, I don't go up to school. You said da, 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 da. It was an incident where my daughter actually two kids one year. Two other kids on her bus said that they saw the aide on the bus slam her down in the chair.
Oh
Now,
no.
these other two kids went to their teacher. This is during summer school. They said, we saw Miss So and so push Keela and smash her down in the chair. The teacher said, what? And so the teacher went to the IEP chair. The IEP chair called me, and I went to the bus company. Bus company said, well, we have to look at the footage first. No, who did it? They were like, well, we got rid of the footage. See, little slick stuff like that, right? I said, but if Baltimore City Public Schools, who you're contracted out, asked for the film, you'd find it, wouldn't you? Or would you tell them you didn't have it either? So, it's just little slick things like that. My child is nonverbal. She's not going to tell me what
Mhm.
happened. I'm not going to know from her. But these two kids from out of nowhere just did that. That made me so mad. But I had to just maneuver it, just channel that energy into something that's productive. Because the main thing is getting results. You want results. Sometimes they don't happen quick, fast, and a hurry, but the bottom line is that you are understood and the results come. We want our children to be safe. We don't want slick stuff. And I really have to check the emotions, my little private time with God. Because I'm like, you know what? West Baltimore is West Baltimore in me. But that's only because you feel disrespected and you don't want your
Understood.
child to be manipulated in this system where it's just full of that. Department of Education has decided to do some things a little differently, and they are not. We were already getting crumbs, you know. We was asking for croutons at least. We're getting crumbs.
The
And so now I physically had to go up to headquarters with the cell phone because I kept calling. Nobody was answering the phone. I went to Baltimore City Public School headquarters. I went to the second floor with the phone like this. Nobody answered the phone. I didn't see any heads in the cubicle, right? I'm like, yeah, let me walk in here. As soon as I stood in there with the phone to my head, heads popped up like the little meerkats, and also somebody is there. Y'all ain't pick the phone up. What is this? Well, that's not my job to do. Somebody should be here. It's this little stuff like that to make you want to ooh, make you want to ooh. But I did go up there one time with a parent, whose son who'd never had a TBA, an assistant with him. He
Mhm.
started at the same time my daughter did. They in the same kindergarten all the way up to ninth grade. He never had a one-on-one. He's nonverbal. How is that? So they didn't push this young black man. He's 14. He's going to be 15 in June. Pushed him all through, and he cannot read anything.
I do you one even better.
Can't
You
read.
talking about nonverbal kids. I know completely verbal functioning 18-year-olds right now.
They still
Dr.
can't read.
Seuss gonna put them down. Dr. Seuss gonna put them down. I've sat in the classroom with it. It has become a true state of crisis of the literacy level in our education system, not just for the special needs, the entire educational system has a crisis on our hands. And since the COVID pandemic sent everyone inside for a year,
Mm-hmm.
the level of disconnect
Complete.
between admin, teachers, students is it only appears to grow wider. Um, and you can tell me if you have seen these in your experiences, but oftentimes what we are finding is I am finding teachers who are scared of
Yes.
admin who is scared of the board of education, so they just don't want the board at their school. And the board of education is either hiding from or scared of parents. And in all of this, the kids are not serviced.
At all.
And if I could make one plea out to the parents, for the active and the engaged parents, I need for you guys to be loud,
Yeah.
because there are parents among you who do not care about the effectiveness of their child's education, but
Yes.
they are only concerned of the optics of their
Yes.
education.
Yes.
So as long as my child passes and he's with the people they are supposed to be, that is all they are focused on. So
Yep.
what I am finding a lot is the loudest parents are the least engaged.
Hmm. Hmm.
So the least engaged just telling sending the kids on. So this is a call because before we got started I was talking with Kenya, and one of the things I was admonishing her to do is to unionize. That's the best way I can think about it.
Yeah.
Bring them parents together. Who
Hmm.
what other kids is in your kids class? Who your mama? Let me talk to your mama, and what did they say to you when you had your IEP meeting? And then guess what? If it's only 6 of us here, there is another school that is just 5 miles down the road. Who is the
Exactly.
special needs parents here? And if you can bring it together, because let me let you know, the people who are not checking in for their kids, but they are just checking some, and I won't throw out a political party, but certain political parties just give lists of books and different propositions. They haven't read any of this. They haven't truly engaged or researched any of this, but they are very loud in the disruption based off a list that they got offline. So I was telling Kenya we have to um when in Rome, do as the Romans. We are now in Rome, and you have to be loud. And the key is to be loud in a way that is effective and
Yes.
cannot be brushed aside. Which is
Yes.
why I really value what you said, Kenya, about being strategic and making sure you hold all of that in check so you can be heard and get results, because that is the ultimate goal, is to obtain the result.
Right.
Like this isn't a personal thing against this one teacher or this one coordinator or this one principal. Because if we're honest, not any one person can create this chasm.
Exactly.
This is a unilateral failure, and it's not a complete and total failure.
Right.
I do not want to put the atmosphere out there or the energy out there that special educators are failing, because that is false. There are
Leadership
special
growth.
educators who work their fingers to the bone. I live with
Yes.
one, and I can't get her to stop writing IEPs at the contract hours. That's my daily fight. The day is done, ma'am. Put your computer away.
Let's move on. You're right.
But she gonna make sure, because a lot of her kids are not primary English speakers. So
Okay.
she has to jump the hurdle of not only getting them the special needs help they do, but these kids speak Spanish. And then, but then
Yes.
that's a whole nother thing, because then there's also the anxiety of ICE, and my uncle didn't
Yes.
come home last week,
Yes.
and all of these other things. So while we are dealing with the special needs piece, there is so much more in
Mm-hmm.
the biosphere of education that is still affecting special education, but it's affecting everyone.
Here
Like
comes Sheila.
they haven't missed any space on the bread with this mayonnaise. Everybody got a slather of this mayonnaise on their bread. So my next thing that
Here comes Keela.
is, of course, gotta make an appearance. So my next thing is how are you working in your home to combat these issues? Because what it appears to me in this season is the ball, and this is not saying that the parents have dropped the ball,
Mm-hmm.
but y'all gonna have to pick up 2, maybe 3 balls in this season. Hi, Keela.
Say hi. She's gonna
Have
come
you?
kiss me, but
Of course.
good question. Okay, you can have my phone. Slick. Happy now.
Yes.
Obviously, she couldn't find her tablet, and so she's like, "Well, you do have this phone, and you look busy, so let me get the phone." So now she has
Come
my
on,
phone.
opportunity. And this is what I tell everybody.
What
Teen,
girl?
special needs teenagers don't mean they ain't teenagers.
Ooh. You
She
preaching?
know what she want, and she done figured out a way to get it.
She got it.
Opportunity.
Okay, back to what you were saying. I'm sorry.
Uh,
Excuse me.
so I'm sorry. Kayla shows up, and just for the record, we're not just talking. This is a
Right.
legit mama with a legit special needs kid, and guess what? You can't control what's gonna
Oh
happen.
no, oh no. If you want peace on earth, you better go ahead and make it work.
You know what I mean? We learn structure, but then this is a teenager like every other teenager. They're gonna grow in their autonomy. They're gonna grow in their independence.
And
And guess what?
authenticity.
And they gonna grow in their rebellion too, because they teenagers, and
Woo!
that's what teenagers do.
Ew.
You were a teenager, you was rebellious too. Your
Yeah,
mama might
me,
have went
me.
upside your head, but you were still a teenager, and you still tried that
Amen.
lady.
Amen. I
But
have backpackers.
as we look forward, with these emerging holes in the system, with these defects,
Hmm.
deficits,
Yeah.
um, parents are going to have to prepare their home life and home structure more.
Yeah.
Um, Not to say that parents aren't already carrying the ball, but it appears to me in this season you're going to have to pick up two or three balls. You're going to have to juggle at times, if you would. How are you bringing? How are you managing this new responsibility, this added load in your home? What are tips that you could give for moms that can prepare their house to continue to have their children be successful and grow?
As I've said over the years, a routine is essential for a child. It helps the stability. If they can anticipate their course of the day, even on the weekends, it will help them mentally kind of gauge what is going on around them because they're usually in their own world. Visually, my child is a visual learner. So we have calendars, we have where we can just kind of go through that. I physically have to go, and it's in my phone. So in case she decides she want to start looking through, things in my phone, she'll at least be able to see this is your schedule. This is what you should be doing now. If you don't want to do that, if you want to take a break, let's just go outside and you can just run out front for a little while or something like that. But I have gone back to pandemic kind of like days.
Okay.
Almost homeschoolish. Started buying the paints again. Started getting just the supplies that I know that I would need to supplement what is definitely being lacked in school. So outside of having a stable schedule, parents would definitely have to be more involved in the the climate that they have in their household for their child. Sometimes because you don't prepare them to go to school, they're not really ready. If they have sensory issues already, don't have it loud in your house and the weed cloud is strong and then you want your child to just go to school. Sometimes environmental things can affect their ability to be attentive, their mood. I have one fellow mom who has two sons with autism, and the younger son is in my daughter's class, but he flips chairs now. He never did that. He will take a school chair and toss it. Now, he's not trying to throw it, like an aggressive way, but it's
Mhm.
just the fact that the noise. So, audibly speaking, it's some sort of stimulating or regulation stimming kind of thing for him. So, he'll just flip a chair, but everybody's, so sometimes even just the attention thing. So, they finally got him an assistant,
All
but
right.
but at
Then we get them
home,
noise cancelers. I keep them things on deck.
he only got some purple ones. And his mom was really trying to figure out where did this come from, how did this happen. When you go to her house, well, when we were online during the pandemic, her house looked like a school, like a teacher's classroom. And she said, my living room no longer belongs to me, it belongs to my children. She said, my sons no longer want to go in the living room because it feels like school. Even when she took the stuff down, they were like, no, this is too close. At least
Hmm.
we could get on the bus and go to school. Now we just go down the steps and boom, school is here. So you got to be kind of careful. Even when I go shopping and stuff like that, whatever was in my child's IEP or whatever her curriculum is, I try to incorporate it in here in the house. So when we go to the supermarket, she knows all her favorite foods. She's going to go get them. It's physical. She can identify it. I'm getting her to see how much it costs now.
Life
How much is
skills.
this? You know, Stuff like that. So every day, and all day, it's a learning thing, even with personal care. How many times do you swipe under the arms when you put on a deodorant? Little stuff like that. She's a girl. It's a whole nother cycle thing you got to deal with. So her being able to, it really takes an involved, available parent. And hats off to women who work 8, 9, 10 hour days and come home and still do everything that take me all day to do. Because even when she's in school, I have medical, I have financial, I have legal, all sorts of things that I have to make sure are running properly for her. I'm an older mom. I'm not always going to be here. Power of guardianship over her, that kind of stuff. So, yeah, it's a lot, but to make sure you have some sort of order, even if you make an outline at home, the academic, the medical, the financial, the social, if you can have that lined up for you, then I need to work on this, I need to work on that, I need to, that kind of order will definitely help. If you have someone that you can, if you have a 2-parent household, bless your soul. Hopefully you have another team player to help balance that. But if you are a single mom, that seat is yours and yours alone. I hope I
Wow.
answered it.
No, no, you did great. You did great. You gave so much good information. Like so many things that I would personally bring up, you've already included. I've always encouraged parents to use those things which are successful in school.
Yes,
So if your child is a visual learner and your child sees when they go into school, they see their schedule on the
yes,
wall.
yes.
And then sometimes, watch this, I encourage parents to go an extra level because if you have a sensory based child, put
Hmm.
that schedule together with Velcro.
Yep,
Let them tear the
yep,
things as they accomplish it off to give
yep,
them that sensory input.
yep.
Use these things in the house to improve and reinforce what's already happening at home.
Hmm. Hmm.
One thing I would encourage parents to do because as I have been a music teacher for the last few years, I've had a chance to experiment with the effects of music throughout the day. So what I have seen be very effective, and you can do this, especially with modern technology and the inclusion of tablets into every child's everyday life.
Hmm.
Set a schedule with music prompts as an alarm for your
Hmm.
child to move them throughout the day. We have used
Good
music
idea.
prompts. So,
Hmm.
in my experiences, I have used the song Happy. So, if we're breaking from classwork, then we're going as soon as it comes on because I'm happy, and then
Everybody
everybody
know it.
knows we're going to gather our stuff.
That's
Work
awesome.
is done. We
Hmm.
can move on. You feel what I'm saying?
It's back
And
to
then at
your
the
business.
same thing, we'll use like the lazy song from Bruno Mars early in the morning because we know you don't want to be here.
Uh,
You
Steve.
want to stay home, and sometimes
Hmm.
I'll identify with them. You want to stay home. Guess what? I wanted to stay home too. I don't want to be here. I play video games too, but I got a job to do, and you got a job to do.
Yep.
So I'm gonna do my job, and you do your job, and then
Amen.
once we both get done our work, maybe I can find some time to give you a little bit of what you want while we
Amen.
all handle business. Like
Right. You
so,
work first.
really use those things. If you have a child who can function with an Apple Watch or a smartwatch.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
don't have to be crazy expensive. I know the tariffs are getting crazy, but go and get you something off Temu before Trump make it cost $16,000. Get you a little cheap watch that you can
Hmm.
set alarms on.
Right.
They have apps that will sync with your phone, and you can help give them that sensory input and that structure that will teach them the function even when you're not in their presence.
Amen. Amen.
Use these things. Use these things. If you have, and I'm not sure, and I'll probably talk with you a little bit separately, but if you have nonverbal kids, use speaking devices. Teach
Hmm.
them icons so they can go up. I want to buy
Right.
toothpaste. Like there are things because your child will learn and grow. There are ways for them to communicate. And in this season, because don't get me wrong, we still have amazing special educators. We still
Yeah.
have amazing therapists. We still have amazing psychiatrists. And there are people on the front line who are ready to fight
Awesome people. Yeah.
this fight.
Yeah.
I've talked with my friends, and it was a little depressing because they went to the special needs conference, and There were literally coordinators who were just crying because they did not know what the future will hold. But one thing that I have not heard is that people have given up.
Oh no,
People have not given up. So
none of that.
so you know, it's a hard time. It's a hard season. There is a lot going on, but I do believe that this is a mountain that we can climb. I
Oh, I
do
do.
believe it is one that we can climb. I would encourage you guys to take the tips from Miss Kenya. Another tip I could offer you: be repetitive in the language that you use.
Consistency.
Consistency is key. So if you tell your child, we are picking up our clothes, keep it, we are picking up our clothes. Don't get frustrated and say, go clean your mess up. Because now your special needs child is saying, what does it mean for me to go clean my mess up? I know what it means for me to go pick up my clothes.
Yeah.
That's something we've practiced. That's something
Yeah.
I know.
Yes.
Go clean my mess up. And then if I clean it up wrong, is mom mad at me?
And
Now
then
we have anxiety building in the kid, and
yeah,
you
we
don't
don't need
even
that.
know that it's coming. And then you say something simple. Now you got a whole crisis situation in your home, and tears are flowing, and things are being thrown. And you like, how did we get here?
Yep.
But it's that tiny detail that can catch you off guard. So I really like that you threw in that consistency. I wanted to emphasize in your communication, in your
Mm-hmm.
tone,
Mm-hmm.
and I hate to say this to my African American sisters.
What you already said.
Well, let me start. I love you and I appreciate all that you do for our children and our community. But I am married to a black woman. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
before people go off on that tip,
Right, right.
I'm gonna need consistency in your facial reaction to your children.
Amen.
I know you don't know that your face is doing this. You don't feel it. You've done it so long that it's a part of how you react. And here's the thing, I know it's something that you don't realize because I have professional friends who have fought their way up the corporate ladder and say the wrong thing. And before she don't even realize in the whole office, what's wrong with you? Please, please, to my sisters, and watch this, to some of my white sisters out there too, that you done grown up in the culture.
Oh
Y'all
yeah.
got it too. Y'all got it too.
Yeah.
Some of my country white folks out there, y'all got it too. You feel what I'm saying? We need consistency in our
Yeah.
facial reactions because our children are reading these reactions.
That's all they have to go on a lot of
They're
times.
interpreting and they're trying.
Yes.
Oftentimes one of the things I tell a lot of parents is oftentimes what we do is we look at things from the web, and in the web we can reference social cues, we can reference the temperature outside, what happened last week. But oftentimes when we're dealing with special needs kids, imagine that they're looking at the same situation through a paper tube.
And
Just
nothing else around it. They can zero in only on what's being relayed to them. That's your intent, whether you're being very deliberate with them, whether you are really paying attention to them. I had to learn. I
they
had
know
to
when you're not
learn.
listening.
Just because my daughter wouldn't make eye contact with me didn't mean she wasn't listening and paying attention to me. But that was when she was little. She's 15 now. So when we were in public, well, me being a sign language interpreter for a while, I did teach her American Sign Language. So there are some things in public I have to do. But because I started when she was little, because we had to do the countdown, and sometimes I might have to do it now, but not as much. She's just concentrating on my facial expressions. I can give her the now you didn't had enough, or Keela, that's enough, or I'm really happy. Being an interpreter, you have to be able to have those facial expressions. But as a parent, those emotions that we have, we should celebrate when they do something good. It may look weird to other people, but Hey,
Hey, victory in my
we
house
doing
is
this.
victory in my house.
Right. We doing this. And we could be in the line at Walmart or something, and if she, stays next to me and doesn't like just run off, we have to go early in the morning because she likes space. If I'm going to get any kind of shopping done, go get me the rice. She knows where the rice is because we go to the same store, so she'll run to the store, but it has to be empty. You know what I mean? So it's just
Mhm.
little stuff like that, but we're consistent with that. That's outside. That's still she's learning how to go and get things. But when the crowd starts to come in, she knows to stay closer to me. She likes the video cameras and stuff, and she's making faces and she's dancing. I'm like, this child. But she's just having fun,
Hey, hey.
just having
I
fun.
will make faces and dance in front of a security camera at Walmart right now, and I don't got diagnosis or IEP the first.
She will get there, but music is so essential that I've introduced Schoolhouse Rock back to her. And that's how she's really good in math, but her teacher didn't know that. I'm like, if you just look at the IEP, really, really look at it, you can see those things. They had all sorts of weird stuff in there. Like she was a behavioral issue because I'm like, you're showing her behavior, but you're not looking at what brought that behavior on. She doesn't wake up in the morning like a Tasmanian she devil, you know? So the consistency at home and outside is so important. And it's hard for us as parents when the wheels will fall off. We have plans for something, and then we have to like say no, we can't go, or she's having a moment. But I spend a lot of time with her, and I feel like I am her interpreter everywhere she goes in this world. But I can't be the only one. Should something happen to me, somebody else got to be able to do this. So I'm documenting each year, the things that are different in her behavior at home, how she is
Mhm.
out in public, when she goes on school trips, when we go to the doctor. Somebody else needs to know this. So I have a younger sister and her husband that are the backups for me, so to speak. Should something happen to me, they would be. But I had to legally make sure that they understood what this was, because this is not, it might seem easy because I'm doing it. It's killing me, but it's not killing me as in I'm gonna die soon
I
or
got
something
you.
like
I
that.
got
But
you.
it takes a lot. It takes a lot.
Honestly, you brought up something that I think is paramount, and it's often neglected due to the vigor of your schedule when you are a special needs parent. Um, Preparation for the future is so key because none of us will be here for forever. And these children need to be able to grow up into adults, and you need to know what realistically, what will this person be able to do alone as an adult, and
Right.
what will they always need assistance with.
Yep.
So I like that you are building your village. And another thing that I would encourage a lot of parents to do is start looking into, and I know you're not going to want to hear this sometimes because you think that you can take care of your kid forever. Start looking into residential adult programs. There
Yeah.
are programs out there where there will be a house. Your child will live with people that function like them.
Hmm.
People will come and check on them every day. They will be able to go to the store, get their own food, cook their own food. I do you one even better. I was a residential director for one of these programs,
Hmm.
and my residents would go on dates. We threw dances. They wanted to go to the mall because they had to get their dress. The dance was coming. So they have things like it's a community. So
Right.
invest into these communities. Look into it. See what fits for
Yes.
your child because you won't always be there. And guess what? Even if you still are there, there is a beauty in the transition of independence.
Yes.
So your child is going to want to get to a place, and you want your child to get to a place where they will leave your house and be able to have some monicum of I'm standing on my own 2 feet.
Yes. Some independence.
And for some children, they will be able to do that by themselves, get their own apartment, house, whatever they can financially afford. And they could do that. And sometimes they'll have a PRP counselor or somebody like
Right.
that. Because I used to do that as well. I was a PRP counselor. I would go into the home. This is a
Check it out.
special needs person. And I'm gonna just make up a name, Susie. Now you know you ain't cleaned that bathroom, and your house starting to smell weird, Susie.
Mm-hmm.
Susie, ain't nothing but chocolate cake in this refrigerator. We need to go buy vegetables. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? And it would just be little thing, and Susie be like, okay. And then we'd go to the
Go do it.
market, get some
Mm-hmm.
vegetables, and that's how we would flow.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Like there are programs set up, but it starts with this ground foundational grassroots Lego blocks, build it from the ground up, knowing who this person is.
Yeah.
Realistically, what can they do? Realistically, and where can we go in the future?
Mm-hmm.
I do encourage many moms to do your best to work with your teachers.
Yeah.
Sometimes I've said parents who will say, "Oh, well, my kid can't do this," and the teacher will say, "Well, they do this every day in class," and then you swear the teacher's a liar. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah. You gotta
Ask
know
that
these
teacher,
signs are
what
not
are
the
you
signs.
doing in your class that you can get my child to reach this level?
Right.
Let me reproduce this at home. And if we
Right.
have teachers out there and you have a parent that says, oh, well, I have never seen my child act like that. Take a minute and
Mhm.
stop and have a conversation. What's going on
Go
at
up
your
there.
house
Just go up there and look. I
that
don't
is
like going up there
helping?
unannounced because we have a situation where my child does not want to take her coat off now,
Oh, dear.
and she does not want to go to the bathroom now anymore. So her aide did notify um, the teacher that she's doesn't want to go to the bathroom. We noticed that she doesn't want to go to the bathroom anymore. So I was already going up there. I like to announce it sometime, and then sometimes I don't. When there's a new behavior or something, I just say I'm going up to evaluate her behavior so they can leave me alone. So I go up there and I'm just looking. Somehow my child just knows when I'm in the building, I think. But I snuck up there and I just peeped in the window just enough to see what my daughter was doing. And I could tell my daughter's not used to having a lock on the bathroom. Whenever she wants to go to the bathroom, she just gets up and goes to the bathroom. That's what she's done most of the time she's been in school. This particular school, for safety reasons, they have nothing but one stall and the toilet and the sink. There's nothing, there's no table or anything in there. It's just that. When she had to go to the bathroom, she ran to the door and ran into the door thinking it could open.
And now we have a
So
negative
now
experience.
I'm not fooling with that. So I'm like, I don't want her holding her bladder or peeing on herself. And she peed on herself. She did. She had nowhere to go. She just got up and was running to the bathroom and the door wouldn't open. And I'm like, but I got the call saying she peed on herself. She needs some extra clothes. I'm like, when did that happen? They just tell you what happened, but not what. And I was like, oh
Not
God,
context.
yeah,
But I mean, I think you brought up something really good, and it's something I say about any person who is an advocate for a vulnerable person or
right,
vulnerable population. Be present, be
hmm,
active.
yeah,
Be present, be active. If you have a special needs kids, everybody at that school should probably know what you look like. There ain't no way you should be able to pull up. You got a special needs kid, and the teacher don't know who you are. If the teacher
yeah.
don't know who you are,
They know who
I hate
they
to say it, love you dropping the ball a little bit because if they don't know who you are, there's no guarantee that they will be held accountable. It's just like if you leave your parents in a nursing home. You better
Yeah,
go on up that nursing home, make sure they taking care of mama. You better go on up there, be up there
better.
once a week, once every 2 weeks. Let them know somebody care about mama, and we gonna be coming through to make sure they all doing what needs to be done.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
it's very
vulnerable
true.
populations. You must check in. You must make yourself known. You must be present and engaged. Because if you are not showing up, you are waiting on a miracle of a person
Hmm.
to just do the work out the kindness of their hearts. And it's not even that everybody's a bad person. So many of these people are overworked that
Yeah,
if they don't have the pressure of knowing that they're being held accountable,
they're not going to be accountable.
you just going it will be forgotten. And it's not personal, it's not malicious. Sometimes it is a stress and they pulling their hair out like you pulling your hair out. But I think the biggest thing that we can do in this season is, especially at our local levels, is to bind together and work together as teams. Parents work with parents.
Yeah.
Parents work with teachers and give teachers grace because the mountain that they climb is high. Teachers work with parents and understand that they be stressed out, and you got 8 hours, this kid was doing this at 3 o'clock in the morning last night.
Amen. Amen.
um, we are all working to be the village
Yes.
that these amazing children deserve and need. I'm gonna say it again. We are all working together to be the village that all of these amazing children deserve and need. So let's work together. These teachers love the kids. These parents love the kids. So I do honestly believe that we have the ability to come together and do what needs to do while we weather the storm. And I do stay weather this storm because there are a lot of people who made political decisions, and you see it every day on the news, and they realize that that was the wrong political decision.
Oh yeah.
So I'm keeping hope alive that we will weather this storm and that we as a nation will learn the error of our ways and do better, because it's easy for us to blame Republicans and white people, but it wasn't all Republicans and white people.
Amen. We got to be accountable for
You
what
know what
we
I'm saying?
invest
But
in. Our
that's
children
spilled
are
milk
invested,
now. That
and just
that's
like
where we at. But this is a conversation about autism and
yeah.
not about politics and old President Trump and his fiascos.
So let's
So
announce the stuff that we need to do.
you know what I mean? We gotta get on it. We gotta be unified. We gotta be organized.
Mhm.
We are coming up on time. As usual, once we get
Mhm.
down into these things, we go down the rabbit hole and we find good details, we find good information, but we must always be timely. Once again, I want to thank you so much, Miss Kenya, for coming on to join us. And I don't know if she can hear me, but I want to thank your daughter also for showing up and making a surprise appearance for us. She legit makes this whole experience and exchange legitimate, because we wouldn't be here without her. We wouldn't be having this conversation
Yeah.
without her. So for all the people out there who have listened, who have been engaged, please work with your local schools. Work with your local mental health providers, your PRP firms, work with your therapists. We are a community and we can do this together. Please use the tips that we have given you. These are resources that are easy to find. We all have a computer, we all got a cell phone, and Google is your ally. It will bring you to stuff, it will help you investigate. Please join your social media groups, your forums, get the information. There are people out there who are sharing this information. It is not hard to find. Be active, be proactive.
Yeah.
And of course, I told you in the beginning, I'm gonna tell you one more time. We have a lot going on over here at HDK. We have a lot of things that we are doing to serve the community. So please make sure that you are getting down the advertisement and marking your calendars for the Life Happens conference. I have been co-hosting this conference since its inception, and it has only gotten bigger and better. I don't know if you can see it. I got dragged all the way to a photo shoot for this. So you definitely want to come out and enjoy this. We have a space for the teenagers this year that's going to be awesome. Having some discussions about preparing them for navigating this life. And of
Mhm.
course, we always have a section for the men and the women, and there's always a community sharing. We all have to be nurtured individually, but we are all part of the village. So the format of Life Happens is a tried and true one. People have been blessed, they have been nurtured, they have grown, and we want to share that with you. So mark your calendars, get your registration early. Get your registration early so that we know and we can try and make it even bigger, that we know that you're coming. Come on out and get that done.
Amen.
Don't forget that the Lioness Den is happening every third Saturday. Yes, every third Saturday, the Lioness Den is happening. Have these conversations that's going to edify and build your life. As you can see from the opening credits, there are so many dynamic women who are connected and flowing with this concept and this podcast. Get that information from them, and they're going to help edify you. And let's not forget that we have an awesome book that is on sale from the creator of
Yes.
HDK, my older sister, Elder Lydia Chapman. Go ahead and get this book on peace. It is going to be amazing for your life. I can see the evidence of this research and this journey in my sister's life. I can see her grow and be edified and blossom into who God is creating her to be. So
Mhm.
make sure you don't miss this train. Don't miss this momentum. Don't miss what's happening. And
Mhm.
above all things
Yes.
else, remember, this is Resurrection Weekend. On top of everything else, I am still Christian. I still believe in the death, the burial, and the resurrection of my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. So remember Jesus this weekend. Remember his sacrifice. Remember that he got up, and he not only got up, but he gave us the ability and the power and the functionality to do everything that we need to do. Greater is he that is in us than he that is in the world. You are more than a conqueror through Jesus Christ. He got up. He got up and he gave you power. So remember that it's resurrection weekend. I know everybody calls it Easter. Call me what you want to call me. It's resurrection weekend. I'm licking my lips. I've been talking too much. I'm getting Tyrone
Got
Bigum's white lips up in here, but it's resurrection weekend.
That's
It's
right.
important. This has been the Lioness Den. I am not a lioness, but I am often welcome into the den to have a conversation.
Hello,
So
Lions.
hopefully, we have blessed you on today. Hopefully, you have been encouraged and received some good information. Again, Kinga, we thank you for showing up. We appreciate your story. We appreciate you seeking to build the village and add to all of those out there.
Yeah.
And thank you to my sister Lydia for creating this space and this forum for people to be edified and get what they need. But with all that being said, there's not much left to be said. We love you, and we'll see you next time.